say how pleased I am to see everybody present. I think the first item on the agenda is apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. No apologies.
We know Councillor Noyes is in Australia, so I don't know whether you want to note that or whether, not that he's in Australia, of course, but if he hasn't sent apologies, I don't know whether we can, I don't know, sort of do it. Does anybody else have any apologies, etc.?
No, no others, Chair.
Okay. The second item is, are there any items of personal or prejudicial interests? People have raised their hands, so Sophie Williams, Stephanie Williams, sorry.
I've got a personal interest. I'm a member of the pension fund.
Okay.
Same for me, Chair. Member of the fund.
Ian.
Yes, I've got exactly the same interest, which will cover the whole agenda.
Okay, Karen.
I'm a member of the pension fund.
Okay, Jeff.
It's same, Chairman, same interest.
I better stick my hand up as well, and I'm also a member of the pension fund.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So we all make sure that we fill in the appropriate form then and send them to Jeremy. Next item is to approve and sign the minutes of the previous meeting. Previous meeting was the Wednesday the 11th of December at Wednesday the 11th of December 2024. And we've all got...
Yeah, and also 25th of September, Chair.
All right, fair enough. And we've all got copies of the two sets of minutes. If we deal with the September one first, then just so it's easier to follow. Do people have any issues to do with the accuracy of the minutes for the September meeting? Can't see anybody indicating. And then does anybody have any issues with the accuracy of the meeting? Well, the meeting on the 11th of December was incorrect. So are there any matters arising from the September minutes? I can't see anything being indicated. So are we all happy with the minutes of the September meeting and the obviously incorrect meeting in December?
Yes.
Everybody happy? Okie doke, thank you for that. The next item on the agenda is item 4, which is the ISA 216 report. I don't know if anybody's doing any sort of report on that.
I will, Chair, on behalf of Audit Wales.
Okay, Jeff, if you want to kick off.
Thanks very much, Chairman. First of all, before I present the report, I just by way of an apology, I'm going to have to switch over on my machine to view the report and follow the report. So I would invite anyone who has any questions or any points they want to raise while I'm going through it to just shout out, or if Jeremy, you can keep an eye on someone and bring it to my attention, because I won't have sight of you as I present the document, Chairman, if that's okay. The report, as I say, Chairman, it's the report of Audit Wales, and it's the annual audit of accounts report that they produce on an annual basis in respect of the annual report produced by the City and County of Swansea Pension Fund. At the previous meeting of the local pension board back in September, and you just reviewed the minutes, Chairman. You received a draft copy of the annual report, and that has been subject to full external audit undertaken by Audit Wales. The finalised, fully audited version of that annual report is on today's agenda, and local pension board members will be invited to comment on that final version later on in this agenda. However, this is the report of Audit Wales following their official review of that annual report in accordance with their statutory requirements and professional guidelines set out in respect of that audit. And this is a report of their findings. We're pleased to say it's a very short report because they were pleased to provide an unqualified audit opinion and with no, material findings or observations in respect of the audit, as you can see on page 12 of the pack. It indicates that we're proposing to give an unqualified opinion on the accounts who have nothing to report on the other sections of the report, those relating to going concern, other information, other matters or matters to report by exception, and significantly then again, significant issues, there are no misstatements or significant issues to report. So in terms of a report, and it's a good thing in this respect. It's quite a boring, very light report. I.e., in respect of their audit findings, they nothing to see here. You've got good assurance that the annual report has been produced in accordance with all statutory requirements. That great outcome is in no small no small credit to Karen Cobb and her colleagues, Claire Elliott and Nick Jenkins, and the rest of the team, both on the investment side of the business and the administration side of the business, for producing the annual report and resulting in this clean audit opinion. So I want to give my thanks and congratulations to all those relevant members as well. I mean, should there be any questions, Chairman, happy to answer them. But as I say, it's quite a short and empty report, Chair.
Okay, I don't have any questions, but does anybody else have any questions? Are we happy to note the report?
Just a comment, Jeff, that from our perspective, it's an extremely reassuring report. And again, I'd second Jeff's comments about the work that his team and the other teams have done to go into it.
Okay, can we just note the comments and then are we all happy to note the report?
The only issue with that, Chairman, is that this is a very high bar now in terms of like no audit exceptions, no significant report. So anything deviating from this in future years will almost be a tantamount to a disaster. So it's almost overachieving in that regard. Because historically there are always items to report. However, because we're talking large numbers and materiality comes into play. But yeah, it's a very high bar and a standard to live up to. But let's try and do so going forward.
Okay, Doug. We'll note the report then and move on to item 5, which is the pension fund annual report. Jeff, you're going to do an update on that, or are you?
Yes, Chairman. If for completeness and out of respect to the local pension board, I was proposing to give a brief take you through a brief walkthrough of the annual report. I know this is the second time that local pension board would have seen it. As I said earlier on in the previous report, you'd have seen the draft version of this in September, and I walked you through the majority of it at that point in time. And as you conclude from the audit report, there were no material amendments from that draft. So save for some typographical errors that were corrected, some formatting, some very minor, casting issues, etc. The report that you see before you is almost identical to the draft version presented at September's meeting. But as I said, Chairman, out of deference to this board and having you convene today, I shall take you through some salient items of the report. On page 33, or page 3 of the actual report itself, are the outlined statistics of the fund, outlining the movement of key statistics within the fund, most notably the membership. And as you can see there, very, very, very marginally, the number of contributors has increased in the year by four members during the year, but most notably, you can see there on the right hand side there, we've breached at long last the £3 billion mark in terms of asset values, and we quite comfortably burst through that milestone for the first time with asset values. Page 4 then, Chairman, starts the commencement of the administration report, and arguably this is the most important part of the pension fund's business, i.e. are dealing with our members and paying those benefits to those members. And page 4 or page 34 of the pack sees commencement of the administration report. On page 6 or page 36 of the pack outlines ill health retirement benefits and early access costs in respect of employers who have granted early access to pensions, and you can see there the outlines of those statistics. And then on page 7 or 37 of your pack starts the detailed report about the administration side of the business, and as I say, this is arguably the most important side of the business. And importantly, in terms of self-reflection, self-management, performance management, there are a whole raft of PIs and customer satisfaction questionnaires and analysis is undertaken in respect of that performance, and you can see them on the ensuing pages here. But also importantly, I later reference the single code, the pension regulator's single code, and later on I'll draw your attention to some additional administration PIs that we're now required to report on, and they're included as an appendix to this report. Included, and should a member be dissatisfied with that service that we provide, you can see on page 14 or 44 of the pack the IDRP process that we have in place, and how should a disgruntled member be dissatisfied with the service, progress a complaint against the admin authority in respect of that IDRP process. And as you can see there, we've got a number of dispute cases ongoing. They're almost like buses, for years and years and years, we never had any IDPRP cases ongoing. However, at the moment, as you can see here, where there were 4 during the year. On page 19, or 49, makes reference to, as I say, the implementation of the new single code of practice, which came into force on the 28th of March 2024. And there's a piece of work and the report on this agenda, Chairman, which is a result of the update of the single code, and that is the requirement for admin authorities to have its own cyber risk policy, and as I say, there's a report later on in this agenda outlining the fund's proposals in respect of that requirement. On page 28 or 58 of your pack starts the summary of achievement, work to date, in respect of the Wales Pension Partnership. Obviously, we've been a constituent authority of the Wales Pension Partnership since 2017, following the then incumbent governance requirements for funds to pool their assets and manage them via these established pools, with the Wales Pension Partnership being one. Importantly, in respect of the board, as I say, on page 73 or 43 of the pack, or was it the other way around? Page 73 of the pack, sorry, and page 43 of the report outlines the work of the local pension board, and gives a summary of your terms of reference, details of who is a member of the local pension board, and the summary of the training that you've undertaken, attendance at meetings, etc. Again, moving forward, there's an item that I shall update board on later on in terms of the ongoing consultation in respect of the LGPS and Fit for the Future review that the government launched in November, later on in the agenda. And one of the requirements is, again, that all committee members and pension board members are adequately equipped with the skills and knowledge to discharge their roles. So this sort of analysis that we're doing here in respect of the training that you receive and the skills and development activities that you're a party to will be all the more important going forward. There's the annual governance statement then, which starts on page 75, 45 of the pack and page 75 of the pack. Again, this gives assurance to the reader of the accounts of the governance arrangements in place in respect of the fund. Obviously, we leverage highly on the governance arrangements in respect of the admin authority itself, which is Swansea Council. So lots of these governance arrangements you see will be almost identical to the governance arrangements in place in respect of Swansea Council itself. Statement of accounts, the material items in the statement of accounts, i.e., the numbers, the net asset statement, the fund account, they start on page 90 of the report or page 120 of your pack, and these are what you largely would expect and associate really with an annual report of a pension fund, i.e., the numbers, which give you the key metrics in terms of the operational and business dealings and financial dealings of the pension fund itself. And as I said earlier on, pleased to say that net assets for the first time have breached that £3 billion mark. Pleased to say that the fund returned 13% for the year. That's well above the local government average of 9% for the year. And that places us well within the upper decile in terms of performance for the fund for the year. And that's, as I said, I've managed expectations absolute investment performance of the fund, because we are actually in a process of de-risking. So we're still achieving that good upper decile investment performance, whilst also reducing our equity exposure and reallocating growth assets into income yielding assets in accordance with the investment strategy review that was undertaken last year. So that is pleasing to note. those eagle-eyed amongst you may say, "Oh, okay." In the performance stats later on in this report, it says the fund was 12th. That is strictly true in terms of the performance stats. However, it's tied with a number of other funds to make it into the upper decile. So although it's 12th, it does qualify as being an upper decile performance fund. And then the detailed notes of the accounts then, which dive deeper into the numbers there on the fund account and the net asset statement, start on page 93 or 123 of your pack, and some of those detailed notes where we do a further dive into those figures. I'm just going to bring some of them to your attention. For example, on page 97 of the report, or page 127 of the pack, highlights all the employers within the scheme. We've got the administering authorities sitting here in Swansea at the top there, but also you can see all our admitted and scheduled bodies. We have large employers like Neath Talbot Borough Council, down to really small employers, like, for example, recently admitted. As you're aware, you'd receive reports on this. One of the newly admitted employers would have been Mrs. Bucket Cleaning Services. As you can see, them outlined here for the first time, contributing for the first time into the fund in 23-24, along with Kingdom Services Leisure as well. Again, a new employer within the scheme. And then on page 129 of the pack, or 99 of the report, you can see benefits paid in terms of transactions of the fund, and obviously the majority of benefits paid are pensions on the top line there, and you can see the quite sizable jump from last year, 75 million, to this year, 84 million. And that is largely explained by the quite generous pensions uplift that pensioners experienced in the last financial year, due to the link with indexation. And as you're aware, CPI was running rife for the previous year, with energy costs, food costs, etc., which meant that the applicable indexation figure was over 10% for the applicable year, and hence pensions were uplifted accordingly. That is the reference to that triple lock that you may hear referenced in the media, etc., that is hardwired into the regs of the LGPS. And then on page 138 and 168 of your pack is the actuarial certificate. This is the last year that this will be in force, because obviously as at 31st of March 2025, we'll be undertaking the next triennial evaluation, the 2025 triennial evaluation, to inform contribution rates going forward. And then I referenced this earlier at page 155 and 185 in your pack are the new PIs in respect of the admin side of the business that we're now required to include and report on. And they're included there on page 155 and 185 for your information as well. As I say, Chairman, members of the board may be sick of hearing me present this report, because, as I say, this is the second full time that we received this report, and again, happy to take any questions on it.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Have we got any questions from colleagues? Nope. Okay, thanks, Wayne. Happy to note the report. The next item is the breaches report, which again is for information. how do colleagues want to handle these for information reports? Do we want the officers to do a précis of the report, or are we happy to note them and just if people got questions, we can raise them?
I think from my perspective, Chair, it's quite useful to hear Jeff, who seems to have the main load on dealing with these things. He's admirably concise, and he does highlight things that perhaps we'd have missed looking through it with a lay eye.
Yep. Okay. So
Happy to
Jeff,
do so, Chairman.
Is there anything you want to, update us about or inform us about in relation to the breaches report?
Well, Chairman, if I could draw your attention to page 2 and 4 of your pack, and onwards. You can see the breaches since the last time that we met. Again, the board will be used to the types of breaches that are highlighted here. Happy to take any questions about those breaches identified. The further detail which we've included, again, to preempt the questions, are the late contribution breaches there at the bottom of page 2 and 5. The questions normally arising of what the nature of those late contributions, etc. And as you can see here, is in respect of a small town council, in respect of 8 members, and the amount was quite small in terms of £4,500. It was a month late. We received it now. In terms of risk management, we're quite comfortable with that. And as it outlines there, Chairman, it was a processing error on their part.
Okay, thanks. Any colleagues have any? Ian?
Just one question for Jeff. I appreciate the report's quite dated now. It's about Swansea's iConnect system, which is featured for a couple of reports. Do you have an update on whether that system has been patched, sorted out, or whatever as of currently?
It is a priority. We've been assured, Ian, that it's a priority of Swansea Council's ICT department to sort that out. The issue is that it's not an issue with iConnect in respect of, for example, Neath Talbot Council. That interface is working satisfactorily. However, the largest employer in the scheme is Swansea Council, and Swansea Council's payroll system, along with a whole host of other ICT systems, has been upgraded during the last 12 to 18 months. And it is that interface with iConnect which is undergoing teething issues, shall we say. It is a priority of Swansea Council's ICT department to resolve that as we head into valuation year. I was remiss not to mention the work that was done in the annual report in respect of data quality on page 46 and page 16 of the annual report itself. Outlines a lot of work that the fund has done in respect of data cleanse, etc., etc. However, we are quite dependent on live, up-to-date payroll information that comes across via iConnect to ensure that is happening. We do have contingency plans. We could revert back to manual interfacing that information in. However, for an efficacy and an efficiency basis, it would be better to resolve that automatic interface. And it is frustrating as we head into month 9 or something of the financial year, whereby it's still a problem with the largest employer. But rest assured, it doesn't impact any of the other employers within the scheme. It's merely a Swansea Council issue because of, well, we all know from our own personal horrific experiences when, you know, ICT software gets upgraded or changed, you know, and a domestic, everything else starts falling over and doesn't start working. So it's that sort of problem, but on a larger scale, I'm afraid. And there is progress being made, but I cannot tell you as we speak now, Ian, that has been fully resolved. But we've been reassured that it is being prioritised and will get sorted before 31st of March 2025.
I think you're on mute, Chair.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. We now move on to the issue of excluding the public. Jeremy, do you want to explain why we need to do this, etc.? And then
if members are happy to exclude the public, just need to prove the reasons in the report there. So if you can take it to the vote, Chair, and we can proceed.
Are we happy to exclude the public? Can we all indicate, please? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
I'll stop the recording now. Thank you.
Okay.